it's not so bad. I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life. Oh, just to be with you is having the best day of my life.
This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica, transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne, serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas, and 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcast on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live and on Flow at Channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tona Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Thursday, July 23, 2026. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness points to transformation of the Kingston waterfront as part of hosting 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup. Government raised $25 billion from the local market through 3 fixed-rate bonds. In regional news, Ghana to establish commission of inquiry into MV Barima tragedy. In international news, Houthis attacked Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea. In sports, West Indies set for a 2-test series against Pakistan. And in business, UK government launches program to help Jamaican tech firms win more international business. The details after the break.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family, family.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the transformation of Kingston's waterfront is essential to the government's vision of making the capital a premier destination. This as the government sets its sight on hosting the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup.
Jamaica is part of a bid to host the Women's World Cup in 2031. But in order to do that, we need infrastructure, and that infrastructure will include the rehabilitation and redevelopment of our national stadium complex. And if Kingston is going to be a city, we need to have more things than just the stadium. Thousands of people will be coming. We need to be able to show them a good front yard.
Dr. Holness was speaking at the contract signing ceremony for Segment 2 of the Kingston Harbor Walk project at Jamaica Gypsum Quarry Port on Wednesday. The Kingston Harbor Walk will extend from downtown Kingston to Port Royal. Dr. Holness says the development is intended to strengthen climate resilience while creating an engaging public recreational space.
Along the corridor are fisher folk, businesses like the cement company. There is a beach which we have not really kept. There is a community which was still known for its entertainment and its street cuisine. There are several residences along the way, and of course there are bits and pieces of the harbor walk that people actually walk and fish and recreate. What we want to build is something where people from all over Jamaica and all over the world will come to experience. It must become the center of attraction.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Meanwhile, Dr. Holness says other improvements are in the pipeline to complement the Kingston Boardwalk.
Under the Spark 2 program, we announced, I believe it was 35 corridors that we are going to improve. And one of the corridors would be the Sir Florida's Gospel Boulevard. This road that runs along here from the roundabout at Harborview going all the way up to the intersection. We have also announced the improvement of the roadway from the roundabout at the airport into Port Royal, because we have already started to make significant investments in Port Royal. We have put in a pier for which we are getting cruise ships. We have built a new arrival and reception area. We have built a new museum and restaurant. We have put in a new sewer plant, and we have run the water main. So Port Royal is slated for major development.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The government is looking to raise $25 billion from the local market through 3 fixed-rate benchmark investment notes going on offer this week. The notes will be auctioned on Friday, July 24. The largest of the 3 is a $16 billion note maturing in November 2031, carrying a fixed interest rate of 9.625% with a tenure of 5 years and 4 months. The government is also offering a $5 billion note due in February 2035 at 7.5% and a $4 billion note due in March 2040 at 8.25%. The 3 are being reopened, that is, added to benchmark bonds already trading in the market, and their final yields and prices will be set by competitive bidding. A portion of each note has been set aside for non-competitive bids, and the minimum bid is $1,000. According to the term sheets, the money will go toward financing the government's budgetary requirements under the Public Debt Management Act. The notes are taxable, registered and transferable, and are registered and transferable, meaning the government cannot repay them ahead of maturity. Mayor of Falmouth and councillor for the Warsop Division in Trelawney, Colin Gager, says the main suspect in the killing of 10-year-old Shania Coke had a history of disruptive behavior. Gager was speaking during Nationwide at 5 on Wednesday.
This thing has been going on. This isn't the first incident. Everybody lives in this community. Everybody knows everybody. It's a small community. And this child has been having these sort of incidents over and over for quite some time. I think once they had taken him away, he came back. He's always in something. He's always after somebody. And this just stays there and it festers. It's so sad. As a community where everybody knows everybody, this shouldn't be happening. But again, all of this boils down to some of the training that some children receive from their parents. And when you have parents who will always support wrong, this will happen.
Shania was on her way to a nearby shop when she was abducted on Tuesday. Her partially nude body was later found with her throat slashed on a dirt track in the community around 3:30 p.m. The main suspect, Delroy Coke, and his father were set upon by angry machete-wielding residents. The men were chopped several times. Delroy Coke, who is Shania's cousin, succumbed to his injuries. According to the family, Delroy Coke was a pervert who was protected by his father. Gager says Coke was known by the police.
Everybody would have seen this coming. Everybody would have seen the behavior, and the police did what they can, but they couldn't just take him away like that without something, having some evidence or going to court. So there have been incidents running with the law, I would say, where that child has been in custody for quite some time, on more than one occasion. I can remember at least 4 or 5 occasions that this happened. But every time they would come back because you don't have the evidence to put him away. I tell you something like this, little boy approach you, I myself have to draw up in myself and say, boy, to sort of stop him. So brazen.
Colin Gager, Mayor of Falmouth and Councillor for the Warsaw Division. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, has launched an investigation into the serious, long-standing weaknesses within the organization, which were highlighted in a recent Auditor General's report. The Director General of ODPEM is Commander Alvin Gale.
There would have been matters concerning gaps in delivery documentation not being countersigned in an earlier report. Those matters we have to investigate to see where it is that we would have fallen short of due process. And then the necessary implications, if any, will necessarily come from those processes according to the relevant staff orders, depending as well on the gravity of the event. Notwithstanding, we need to bear in mind the necessary situations around the significant operational pressures at the time, and decisions would have had to be made on the ground to cause for the necessary relief items to reach the persons in need.
Commander Alvin Gale, Director General of ODPEM. The Auditor General reported, or her report focused on ODPEM's management of the Hurricane Melissa Relief Initiative. It found that the agency demonstrated a low utilization rate for disaster relief funds donated for Hurricanes Melissa and Beryl. It also uncovered widespread breaches in governance and procurement activities. The audit highlighted the need for continuous improvement in disaster response management and the enhancement of accountability and safeguarding public funds. Meanwhile, ODPEM's chairman, Trudy Deans, says some management changes have already been implemented.
There have been long-standing weaknesses in the organization, and the Auditor General's report did bring out some of those weaknesses. These are some of the things that we have already started working on. We acknowledge the weaknesses, we are fixing them, and we have begun investigations in some of the matters that are really serious. And once those investigations are completed, then the necessary actions according to due process will take place. So anybody who is culpable will be held responsible.
Trudy Deans, ODPEM Chairman Deans, and Commander Gale were speaking in an interview with JIS. Jamaicans who hold U.S. non-immigrant visas in the F, J, and I classifications are being encouraged to take note of new regulations introducing fixed periods of admission into the United States. The F1 visa is for non-immigrant students, the J1 visa is for exchange visitors, and the I visa is for foreign media representatives. Non-immigrant visa chief at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, William Skiffington, says effective September 15, 2026, the long-standing duration of status system will be replaced by fixed periods of admission. Robin Williams reports.
Since 1978, foreign students have been admitted to the United States for an unspecified period under the duration of status system. But a final rule issued by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, will bring that practice to an end. Instead of open-ended stays, most F1 students and J1 exchange visitors will now be admitted for a maximum of 4 years, or the length of their academic program, which is shorter. Nationwide spoke with non-immigrant visa chief at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, William Skiffington, on Wednesday.
Students who are below the graduate level, so bachelor's degree, associate's degree, things like this, are limited in their first year from transferring schools, changing their major, or changing their degree level, that is from like a bachelor's to an associate's. That's in the first year. Now, if they're at the graduate level or above, they can't change majors, degree level, or school at any point during the program, but again, they can apply for approval for an exception from U.S. Customs and Immigration Services. So now the last change for Fs, the grace period at the end of the stay, at the end of the time in the United States for students, it used to be 60 days. It will now be reduced to 30 days. So this is the grace period for preparation for departure, to transfer schools, to change status following graduation.
The length of stay for I-Visa media representatives will now be capped at 240 days with the option to apply for an extension. According to the DHS, the changes are intended to strengthen oversight of temporary visa holders, reduce visa overstays, and enhance national security through regular reviews of immigration status. Skiffington notes that the changes do not affect the initial visa application process or the eligibility requirements for obtaining an F, J, or I visa.
We welcome students, exchange visitors, journalists, as we always have. They're still welcome to apply. We still will be issuing visas under the same criteria as before. This really is about that initial duration of stay and bring the oversight away from the schools and the universities back to the Department of Homeland Security to have more control over the visa process. So it really is, an opportunity for students, journalists, exchange visitors to continue to come to the U.S. And if they need to stay longer than those set times, there is that opportunity to apply for an extension.
He's encouraging current and prospective holders of FJ and I visas to familiarize themselves with the new requirements and ensure they remain compliant with U.S. immigration laws.
Watch out for that September 15th date. For anyone who's traveling to the U.S. under one of these visa classes, please check your end date of your program, know your specific admission date and the limits and the grace period, which for Fs and Js is 30 days, and check the admission date that you're given when you enter the country. If you need to go beyond the 4 years as a student or exchange visitor or the 240 days as a journalist, make sure you file that application for extension of status early with U.S. Customs and Immigration.
For more information, persons may visit dhs.gov. Students can also access additional guidance at studyinthestates.dhs.gov. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Chairman of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, says leaked audio of two PNP executive members scheming against the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, confirms that even when confronted with a national crisis, the PNP will put their political objectives above Jamaica's best interests.
Because we have seen it play out in the Parliament. I've seen the data, which speaks for itself, come to the Parliament concerning states of public emergency, and hundreds of lives saved in locations where the measure has been implemented. And the PNP has turned a blind eye to that empirical statistic, that empirical data, and voted against the SOE. And I've thought to myself, do these people mean Jamaica well? So no, I'm not at all shocked at audio from the level of the PNP executive, which betrays a mindset that these people put party over country every time.
His comments come as the PNP is being hammered on social media over voice notes of two of their executive members discussing a possible smear campaign against Major General Anthony Anderson and delayed tactics to undermine NARA. Senator Fitz-Henley says the PNP is being true to form.
We saw it as well with the rural school bus system, where senior members of the PNP went out and viciously attacked the bus system, preaching doom and gloom, when it is widely known across the world that the buses are generally safe and are regarded as among the most conducive to navigating tough terrain. Yet they attacked the buses, again for political purposes. The PNP took an antagonistic approach to measures which saved Jamaican lives, and a system intended to bring safer and more affordable transportation to our students. It therefore is entirely true to form that they'd plot and scheme and hope that NARA is not successful.
Senator Abka Fitz-Henley, chairman of the JLP's Communications Task Force. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:18.
Attention seniors, great news! Your July 2026 social pension payment is here and ready for collection. Simply check your text messages to confirm your payment details. For more information, call 876-922-8013 or visit the ministry's website mlss.gov.jm. The Social Pension Program, caring for our elderly. A message from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, providing opportunities, stability and social protection.
In regional and international news this morning, regional news in Guyana. The government is moving to set up an independent commission of inquiry into the sinking of the MV Barima. Prime Minister retired Brigadier Mark Phillips made the disclosure on a radio program on Wednesday. He says the commission will determine what led to the disaster, identify accountability, and recommend measures to strengthen maritime safety. He did not provide a timeline, but said it's a priority for the administration. The MV Barima capsized on its way from Georgetown to Port Kaituma on the weekend. The death toll has climbed to 65. Prime Minister Phillips says the government continues to provide assistance to families affected. International, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels say they attacked two Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea early Thursday. The Houthi attack threatens to open a new front in a war that has roiled the global economy, sending prices for fuel and other goods surging across the world. Meanwhile, the U.S. military conducted a 12th night of strikes against Iran as the two countries vie for control of vital shipping lanes. U.S. Central Command said its strikes were designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters. U.S. President Donald Trump warned on Wednesday that the U.S. would destroy one bridge or power plant each time Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Both sides have increasingly threatened civilian infrastructure. International law generally prohibits such attacks unless the infrastructure is being used for military purposes. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
Supercenter, everything for your home and more.
Get ready, our end of month super sale is back. From Thursday till month end, get incredible savings on your favorite items. We have decor, kitchenware, school supplies, bed and bath, and of course, the widest range of gift ideas for any occasion. These deals are on till the end of month, so don't wait.
Ascent Supercenter, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
You've led teams, built businesses, and influenced change. Now, lead research that transforms your field. Apply now for the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean's Doctor of Business Administration or Doctor of Professional Practice. Flexible, research-based, and designed for working professionals. All UCC programs are accredited by the University Council of Jamaica. Learn more and apply online at ucc.edu.jm. UCC, fostering leadership and innovation.
We may stumble, we may fall, but together we always rise.
Stronger.
For 64 years we've proved it.
Stronger.
Through every storm,
Stronger.
every struggle,
Stronger.
every victory, we were born to rise. At Satiko we rise with you, building futures, protecting families, uplifting communities. This independence, Jamaica stands proud as we rise.
Stronger.
Time now for your morning sports. Following a 3-2 defeat in their recent one-day international series against New Zealand, West Indies will now shift their attention to a two-test series against Pakistan. The first begins on July 25 at Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Taruba. West Indies head into the series ranked 8th, with Pakistan ranked 7th. According to former West Indies fast bowler Darren Powell, the Caribbean team should be wary of the Pakistani spinners.
I'm looking forward for the growth actually the batters in the series. We just came out of Sri one that sees and that sends a very strong message and where these players are going, what they need to do to be a team to be reckoned with in the world. If you look at Pakistan, it can be very challenging based on their spin bowling attack. They have a spin quartet which has been doing well for Pakistan.
Powell says the pitches in Trinidad and Tobago should be conducive to good test cricket.
To batter comes good and comes even better. I think they can do well in the series and move forward in a series win. It is not one of the easiest things to do right now based on the nature of what has been happening in West Indies cricket. But our bowlers have been very dominant against all nations.
Darren Powell. National champion Tamisha Roswell led home Jamaican Quinella in the 100-meter hurdles at the World Athletics Continental Tour Silver Meeting in Slovakia. Roswell sped to victory in 12.54 seconds to beat countrywoman Brittany Anderson into second with 12.73 seconds. Akeem Blake logged 10.04 seconds for second in the men's 100 meters. Victory went to rising South African star and former world junior champion Bayanda Walaza in 9.89 seconds. Elaine Thompson-Hero was also a second-place finisher in the women's equivalent. She posted 11.06 seconds and was just beaten by Australia's Tori Lewis, who did 11.04. World Championship bronze medalist Tyler Mason clocked 13.47 seconds for third in the 110-meter hurdles. Akeelia Smith cut the sand at 6.48 meters, good enough for fourth in the women's long jump, while Nia Robinson ended sixth with 6.21 meters. Finally, in your morning sports, England international Phil Foden has agreed a 4-year extension at Manchester City, which will keep him at the Etihad until 2030. The 26-year-old's previous deal was due to expire next summer, but he has opted to extend his stay under new head coach Enzo Maresca. Foden made his debut for the club at 17 under Pep Guardiola, and he's gone on to make 369 appearances for City, winning 6 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League and 2 FA Cups. He was left out of Thomas Tuchel's England World Cup squad in May after an inconsistent season where he made only 23 Premier League starts. And that's it for your morning sports.
This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
In business this morning, the UK government has launched a new program to help Jamaican tech firms win more international business. In a statement on Wednesday, the British High Commission in Kingston said the program is designed to help export-ready technology and business process outsourcing BPO companies secure commercial opportunities in the UK and international markets. It says the announcement builds on the success of previous UK-backed initiatives, which have helped Caribbean technology firms secure commercial partnerships and contracts worth more than $8 million or over 1.3 billion Jamaican dollars. The High Commission says Jamaican companies have been among the program's strongest performers, winning major international contracts, expanding into new markets, and creating new jobs. One Jamaican software company, Shift Left, secured multi-million-dollar contracts with UK partners. after participating in UK-funded export coaching, compliance support, and trade missions. Other participating firms have also gone on to secure high-value international partnerships, including one company expanding its workforce by more than 100 employees. Building on these successes, the new Making Trade Happen MTH program, funded by the UK government and delivered by International Trade Centre, will provide tailored support to help Caribbean companies compete internationally. Applications are now open until August 2, 2026. Now, the co-founder of Hugging Face, a technology startup that was hacked after some of OpenAI's most advanced artificial intelligence AI models went rogue, said on Thursday that the incident is a wake-up call for the industry. Thomas Wolfe told BBC's Newsday radio program that this will be one of the most common types of cyber attacks they see, but that most firms are not aware that the game has changed. The ChatGPT maker said on Tuesday that its AI models broke out of secure test environment during a trial and launched a cyber attack. The firm said the incident was unprecedented and that it was conducting an investigation with Hugging Face. AI agents are able to operate alone to accomplish tasks after human instruction. Wolfe said that Hugging Face initially had no idea where the attack originated when signs of it surfaced in mid-July, but that the company was able to contain the breach. Hugging Face is one of the world's largest open-source hubs for sharing AI models and is often used by tech developers and researchers. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar has gained 11 cents and will open against the benchmark US dollar, selling for an average $159.52. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican has gained 24 cents and will open selling for an average $113.16. And finally, the Jamaican has lost 77 cents and will begin trading for an average $213.37 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:30.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston,
and lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Enjoy peace of mind knowing that your hard-earned money is protected by the JDIC. That's right, the JDIC through the Deposit Insurance Scheme guarantees up to $1.2 million of your deposits in commercial banks, merchant banks, and building societies. This means your deposits, such as your savings and checking accounts, are covered. Rest easy knowing that your deposits are secure. Your deposits always protected. For more information, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JDICJAM or visit our website at www.jdic.org.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
good morning to you. Good morning to you. You're tuned in to Nationwide this morning. NTM, thank you so much for coming on over and joining us in the space. Our space, of course, is NNN Radio Live. That's our YouTube channel. Hello to our friends out there in Radioland joining us on the 90.3, 0.5, 0.7, 0.9 band. Hello to you. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to NTM. Today is Thursday, July 23, 2026. I'm Tana Thomas.
And I'm Tamoy Campbell.
Good morning, Tamoy.
Good morning, Tana.
How are you?
I'm great because you know it's Thursday, so it's TT and TC. How are you?
I'm good. I see Carlene in the chat getting it right. She says it's Girls Thursday.
And that is it.
Yeah, so the music that Jermaine came in with, yeah, very quite fitting this morning, this Thursday morning.
Well, you know, Tana, it's my favorite time is What's on My Mind.
Yes.
And today, what's on my mind is really, are we losing our words? Are our young people not reading enough? And I would qualify that by saying enough Jamaican and Caribbean literature.
Okay.
So, Tana, I recently was at a function and I had the privilege of meeting former poet laureate Olive Senior. And it was a complete fangirl moment because I'm a fan. And in our conversation, she asked me, are you still reading? She said she has asked everyone that who has happened to come up and speak with her. I told her yes, admittedly, it's more towards and contract, not any nice literature, but it's still reading nonetheless. And so that sentiment stuck with me. And I thought about it. Are we as a society, more specifically young people, are we reading? And I have come to the conclusion that we do read, but we're not reading enough. And perhaps what we are consuming isn't enough to expand the brain. I had another conversation recently with senior counsel, and both of them happened to say that one of the issues they were having when they were speaking to younger attorneys was an inability to converse. Like there's a constant need for them to over-explain because they can't necessarily equip themselves to communicate in a way where they can add to the conversation. And it's because when I read. And I feel like a parent here, and that's not the aim, but when I look at it, or my generation, we scroll, we like, we share, we comment. We read things on social media, we read all the threads, all of that. But what about reading the material that makes you question society, the things that expand your vocabulary, make you more articulate? That isn't there anymore, and I think that's pretty concerning. When I was in high school, first form, one of the books that we had to read was The Silver Sword by Ian Serraillier, and that was my first introduction to understanding what World War I was like, the Nazi regime. And there I am learning about a completely different time period, historical information, all while, of course, following the characters that I can relate to, and without having to leave home. And that's what reading does. You're able to learn something more and expand your mindset, which I don't think we understand. We are in a tablet generation. We scroll, and as I said before, we watch whatever is on social media. But how many of us remember a nice Roger Mays, a V.S. Reid, a Lorna Goodison, those things that make you know about culture and history, those things that add flavor and depth and make you understand complex themes, build empathy for your conversations, not just to be TikTok lingo and everything Gen Z language, because admittedly, I speak in my Gen Z lingo. I use TikTok language all the time, but I'm also able to maneuver in a different space and expand my conversation, and that only comes because I'm actively putting myself in a position to read more and more. So my concern is that we're not reading enough. We're not reading enough Jamaican literature, even the classics, the Shakespeare's, even beyond that, your Chinua Achebe, if anybody knows Things Fall Apart. Literature is perhaps was one of my favorite subjects. And I think if I never had to do law, I perhaps would have done something where I could have maybe be reading literature more often. But notwithstanding, I want us to challenge ourselves to read a little bit more, to understand the nuances of our culture, of our history, all of which we can do if we open a book. And again, I know we read, but some of the content that we read, that's not pushing anything. We need for a little different. And I think that comes if we're able to consume good Jamaican literature, because there's a plethora of it. If we're able to consume the classics and just understanding that the impacts and the benefits are far reaching. Vocabulary, empathy, you get to learn more, expand your mindset. You travel the world through a page. When I was going to high school, my parents, particularly my mother, would buy our literature books very early, and you had to read them in the summer. She never wanted going into September to be the first time you're reading your books. And maybe you think that's a bit extra. Looking back, I don't think it's a bit extra. I quite enjoyed it, and I think it really helped us to appreciate what it is that we're going to be doing when we reach September. But you're learning so much more and you're so excited to read. So I'm excited to read, and I want more Jamaican young people to be excited to read Jamaican literature, Caribbean literature. Yes, you can put down the phone and read a Julius Caesar. You can put down the phone and just read a George Orwell. And the thing about literature is that there's so many genres. You don't have to be confined to the Shakespeare if that's not your cup of tea. There's something out there for everybody. But we want you to be more adept. We want you to be more articulate. We want critical thinking to not be a buzzword, but to be something that you know how to do because you have exposed yourself to the material. So reading maketh a man or the woman, and I want us to read a little bit more. I'll go even further by saying that perhaps you can let me know what I should be reading. I'm going to challenge myself as I challenge you all. Put it in the comments for those on YouTube land, book recommendations, and maybe when I've read it, we can talk about it on another episode or another time when it's what's on my mind. So yes, that's it for me today. I'm going to need to go reading a book.
And you're getting a lot of feedback in the YouTube chat as well, Tamoy, with a lot of people who are supporting what's on your mind this morning, saying folks need to read, children need to read. I see Amy Sinclair here saying, well said, reading builds the brain. My daughter loves to read. She always asks for books for her birthday. When she went to university, she said, Mommy, I'm happy you insisted on me reading. Exactly. And Rambling Rose says, yes, Tamoy, my mother did the same, and I'm doing it with my daughter. However, reading is just not her cup of tea. But it helps when the parents are inculcating or insisting that you do the reading and making it fun from their little. And for many of, when they say to you that you have to start from the root. Yes. So you have to start it there, making it fun for them. And don't make reading seem like so much of a chore. I've seen a lot of parents, they complain that, I regret doing it that way. That their approach was to make it seem like a punishment or a chore, like you have to go read, or when you did something bad, go read your book. So it became something that your child or your children are resistant to. So it's to make reading fun. And for Amy, who said that books are a part of the birthday gifts. So if you're when you're buying the gifts for the birthday or a special moment or like a reward, you're not just buying a toy, but you're also buying a book with it as well. So your child has both forms of enjoyment. They can have, I don't know what kids are using these days outside of the tablet and phones. But say, for example, when I was a child, we had this game that had snakes on it and all of that. I don't remember what it's called. But my parents were buying one of those, but they were also buying me the Ugly Duckling or whatever game, whatever book was out there at that time. And as I grew, I was getting both. A doll, but also a book.
Same way, Tana.
But also a book. I see Winston here saying that's why Jamaicans are so small-minded, because they're not reading to be able to think analytical with common sense and not be easily brainwashed. Reading builds capability and a capacity. Howard Irving says, I read almost everything, not only books like Shakespeare and some other so-called literature. And Kevin says, start reading from the baby stage and make it consistent. Exactly. Dwight says, please read more about the... Okay, I'm not going to read that one. Rambling says, get the children reading topics that they're interested in when they are older. For example, when they get to the teenage stage. And Carl says, yes, Tamoy, where did Carl come? Oh, here it is. You are far younger than I am, and we had to read during the last weeks of summer.
Yes.
Our house was filled with books, including books on Desmond Tutu, Nelson Mandela, among others. Barbara Ellington, good morning to you. Auntie Barbara says, all the countries I have visited, I read about before. It was always eye-opening to see, and I felt that I already knew the place by the time she arrived there because she had done so much reading about the destination ahead of time. S8 says, my children always had a book with them. I watched my son check in for his flight to London and sat down and took out his book and read. And she said that she was so pleased. Debbie says, simply, I love to read. And there's a thing where you're not going to have every child starting their growing up stage and they like it. But you have to do, as I said, you have to do it in a way that makes it fun. I was saying to Tamoy ahead of the What's on My Mind segment that it's not just about the reading, but it's a form of reading. Yes, it is a form of reading. That there's so many kids these days. I was watching on social media recently, this content creator doing a piece of content, and so many of the Gen Zers did not know how to read a clock. Analog clock. So many, because it's so easy to just tap on your phone and look, oh, it's 6:45. Or you have a digital watch on your hand. But what about the clock with the hands? They don't know which one, what the shorthand represents or what the longhand represents. And I found that so unfortunate. And it's because of how the digital landscape is now that the traditional way of doing things that's supposed to help you in terms of numbers and critical thinking and be able to identify things immediately, that is so quickly fading away because of what's either missing out of the home or what's missing out of the classroom.
Agreed.
And I think that is such a big problem. And parents and teachers and mentors and all of those people that form the space where children learn, that they need to go back to some of these things, the reading and the knowing how to read a clock and the writing, because that's also an issue. How to write.
Can't even express yourself. You don't even know what a simile is. How if I'm speaking using some type of literary device or something, you're just completely lost. All of that you can maneuver if you're reading. And I just saw one of the comments saying that they weren't a fan of Shakespeare. I remember in high school there was this thing called paper and stage where they translated whatever Shakespearean play was on the C6 syllabus for that year in a Jamaican way. So we got to see the Jamaican version of Julius Caesar, and that was really cool. It was like one of those small theaters, center stage. It was really, really good. And there's a lot of book clubs I see popping up. I know of a content creator. I don't know if you know Book of Scenes. I know her target audience might be different, but there's also a Gen Zero one called Chapters JA. I went to that one. Jamaica, big up yourself. And we get the books or the author from beforehand, and we meet up at a nice cafe. It's all girly and cutesy. Taking pictures, and we're literally discussing. So there are spaces, but not enough. And I want us to be more deliberate and intentional with the reading. We have to learn how to express and communicate effectively, and that can be done by reading a little bit more.
And what games are we playing? There was a time when people were looking at us, why are you playing ABC Fast or Slow? Because
we love ABC Fast or Slow.
It helps you to think fast. And you're learning at the same time. An animal that you perhaps didn't know about, a country, another place, a thing. It's helping you along the way with your words. So games like that do help as well. That's why we like Scrabble too, because it's helping you with your words and helping you to think fast.
And you want to see if that word really exists. So you run going to the dictionary to check. You see, it's all connecting, guys. We're losing
reading and learning can be fun.
It really can.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness works to ensure the provision of quality health services and promotes healthy lifestyles and environmental practices for all Jamaicans. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is
6:49.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Hey, turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
It's at that time of the morning when we get our first report of Street Smart with Ludlow McLean. Hey to you, Ludlow.
Morning, Ludlow.
Hey, Tana. Come on.
Yes, hi, Ludlow.
TC and TT. I mean, I have the thing for them two names. Those, when anybody I talk about TT and
So you've taken ownership of it.
All right.
No problem, Ludlow.
Right.
No problem.
Anyway, the situation though, it's bright and sunny again, and going up Maxfield Avenue, you see a number of vehicles flowing, but nothing impeding your movement to get up to Eastwood Park Road. It's pretty good. When you turn onto South Oden Avenue, it's also good. Once the light is on red, you're going to have a slight build up and then it moves again, and those vehicles are making its way across to Southermere Road and then onto Parish Place, exiting onto Hope Road. The other side is going up towards, making that right turn on Constant Spring and then to Arthur Road. But at the moment, it's pretty good in that space, and if you go up Hope Road, it's also good at that intersection of Trafalgar Road and Hope Road. Going across the Trafalgar Road is not too bad. Waterloo normally builds, but it's free flowing at the moment, so you won't have much of a problem as they make your way. And I say at this time, most of the spaces are free flowing at the moment. Even Constant Spring Road coming down into Half-a-Tree, Dunrobin with a little build up at the intersection of Dunrobin and Constant Spring, but nothing at the moment. It's going to build as the minute progresses. It's pretty dynamic, so it's going to build as the morning progresses. But back to that thing, anybody remember Macbeth, the Merchants of Venice?
Of course you do. Absolutely.
To kill a mockingbird.
Yes.
So we can't read. Let me tell you, I used to like to explore the world. I've never been to places in Africa, Canada, and all that. But
you explored it on the pages.
The prairie provinces and the Manitoba and the Saskatchewan and all these things. Yes. And I do it through reading, you know what I mean? And I realized that a lot of people, you see those encyclopedias, they are good too, it helps you to develop your vocabulary.
Absolutely, Ludlow.
Absolutely. People say, I already have a computer, I don't need the encyclopedias, that's the thing. But it really builds your vocabulary and make it quite profound, so to speak.
Yes.
Anyway, that's it from me.
Well, thank you so much, Ludlow, the weatherman, the traffic man, and the reader. Up next, the word of the day.
The word of the day is brought to you by Marshall's Pharmacy.
Hey to you, Marshall's Pharmacy. Good morning to the staff over there. Hope you guys are having a fabulous Thursday morning so far. So a word of the day is spelled Trencherman. Trencherman.
Trencherman. Trencherman. Trencherman.
Trencherman is your word of the day, a noun, and it means a person who has a hearty appetite. So a heavy eater. I'm a trencherman. It just doesn't show. Trencherman is your word of the day. Trencherman. A person who has a hearty appetite or a heavy eater. And to use it in a sentence here, he was known across the town as a true trencherman who could empty a whole plate of meat by himself. Trencherman is your word of the day. Dictionary.com telling us that the word was first recorded between 1580 and 1590. Up next, our feature is at the top of the hour, the news.
The word of the day was brought to you by Marshall's Pharmacy.
Men over 50 can be just as healthy, fit, and active as younger guys. It may take a little more effort, but eating right, exercising regularly, and getting your routine health screenings can keep you going strong. In coming of age today, what are the top healthy lifestyle guidelines for men 50 and over? The most important guidelines for a healthy lifestyle after age 50 are the same for men and women at any age. Eat a healthy diet. Stay at a healthy weight. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Be physically active. Don't smoke. And if you drink alcohol, have no more than 2 drinks a day. And get routine exams and screenings. Following these guidelines can help men age in good health and reduce the risk of many diseases that are more common in older men, like heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. Even men who have not followed these guidelines until now can benefit from making healthy changes. It's never too late to start making good choices. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and fat-free or low-fat dairy products are healthy choices for men over 50. Lean meats, poultry, fish, beans, eggs, and nuts are good sources of protein too. For heart health and weight management, it's important to eat foods that are low in saturated fats, trans fats, cholesterol, salt, and added sugars. Physical activity is the best way for men over 50 to improve their heart health, muscle strength, and flexibility and balance. Aerobic or cardio exercises gets the heart pumping and uses large muscle groups. Working out with dumbbells or on weight machines are examples of strength training which help build up muscle. What health screenings are important for men over the age of 50? Screenings are tests that look for diseases in their early stages before symptoms develop. Which screenings a man should have and how often depend in part on his family health history, personal health history, and lifestyle habits. The following list includes some of the most important screenings for men over the age of 50 but does not include all possible screenings. Blood pressure. It increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and other diseases. A blood pressure check is an easy, painless, non-invasive screening that can be done in the doctor's office. Cholesterol. High cholesterol increases the risk for heart disease and stroke. People with known heart disease or certain other conditions may need to have their cholesterol level checked more often. Prostate cancer. A simple blood test called the PSA or the prostate-specific antigen test can find early prostate cancer. Colon cancer. All men should be screened for colon cancer starting at age 45 until age 75. That's it for Coming of Age today. Fearless and fair, Nationwide 90 FM.
Communication in today's world is the survival of any organization. Effective communication is significant for entrepreneurs regardless of whether they are large, medium-sized, small, or micro-sized. This is Lifestyle Pages on Business Communication. Communication helps manage, promote, and motivate employees about the task at hand, what is to be done, and how to improve the performance in reaching their goals. Communication also helps with the finding and sourcing of information for all members in the decision-making process. Essential information which must be communicated to the manager, who must in return talk to or have dialogue with his or her employees before proposal or project is acted upon or implemented. This way, no one can complain that they did not know of the proposal or the project. Communication is also crucial in changing or altering individual minds and attitudes and helps with socialization between the employer and employees, as well as between employees in resolving disputes, which in turn makes solving disputes easier. Lack of good and proper communication can cripple or cause an organization or company to collapse. I'm Valerie, and those were Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Distracted driving costs lives. Keep your eyes on the road and arrive alive. The time brought to you by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news at 7 for this morning, Thursday, July 23, 2026. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness points to transformation of the Kingston waterfront as part of plans to host the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup. Government to raise $25 billion from the local market through 3 fixed-rate bonds. U.S. Embassy advises Jamaicans to take note of new visa regulations, introducing fixed periods of admission. And in international news, Houthis attack Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea. The details after the break.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says the transformation of Kingston's waterfront is central to the government's vision of making the capital a premier destination. This as the government sets its sights on hosting the 2031 FIFA Women's World Cup.
Jamaica is part of a bid to host the Women's World Cup in 2031. But in order to do that, we need infrastructure, and that infrastructure will include the rehabilitation and redevelopment of our national stadium complex. And if Kingston is going to be a city, we need to have more things than just the stadium. Thousands of people will be coming. We need to be able to show them a good front yard.
Dr. Holness was speaking at the contract signing ceremony for Segment 2 of the Kingston Harbour Walk project at Jamaica Gypsum Quarry Port on Wednesday. The Kingston Harbour Walk will extend from downtown Kingston to Port Royal. Dr. Holness says the development is intended to strengthen climate resilience while creating and engaging a public recreational space.
Along the corridor are fisher folk, businesses like the cement company. There is a beach which we have not really kept. There is a community which was still known for its entertainment and its street cuisine. There are several residences along the way, and of course there are bits and pieces of the Harbour Walk that people actually walk and fish and recreate. What we want to build is something where people from all over Jamaica and all over the world will come to experience. It must become the center of attraction.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Meanwhile, Dr. Holness says other improvements are in the pipeline to complement the Kingston Boardwalk.
Under the Spark 2 program, we announced, I believe it was 35 corridors that we are going to improve. And one of the corridors would be the Sir Florida's Gospel Boulevard. This road that runs along here from the roundabout at Harbourview going all the way up to the intersection. We have also announced the improvement of the roadway from the roundabout at the airport into Port Royal, because we have already started to make significant investments in Port Royal. We have put in a pier for which we are getting cruise ships. We have built a new arrival and reception area. We have built a new museum and restaurant. We have put in a new sewer plant, and we have run the water main. So Port Royal is slated for major development.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The government is looking to raise $25 billion from the local market through 3 fixed-rate benchmark investment notes going on offer this week. The notes will be auctioned on Friday, July 24. The largest of the 3 is a $16 billion note maturing in November 2031, carrying a fixed interest rate of 9.625% with a tenure of 5 years and 4 months. The government is also offering a $5 billion note during February 2035 at 7.5% and a $4 billion note due in March 2040 at 8.25%. The 3 are being reopened, that is, added to benchmark bonds already trading in the market, and their final yields and prices will be set by competitive bidding. Now, a portion of each note has been set aside for non-competitive bids, and the minimum bid is $1,000. According to the government, or the term sheets rather, the money will go toward financing the government's budgetary requirements under the Public Debt Management Act. The notes are taxable, registered, and transferable and non-callable, meaning the government cannot repay them ahead of maturity. Mayor of Falmouth and councillor for the Warsop Division in Trelawney, Colin Gager, says the main suspect in the killing of 10-year-old Shania Coke had a history of disruptive behavior. Gager was speaking during Nationwide at 5 on Wednesday.
This thing has been going on. This isn't the first incident. Everybody lives in this community. Everybody knows everybody. It's a small community. And this child has been having these sort of incidents over and over for quite some time. I think once they had taken him away, he came back. He's always in something. He's always after somebody. And this just stays there and it festers. It's so sad. As a community where everybody knows everybody, this shouldn't be happening. But again, all of this boils down to some of the training that some children receive from their parents. And when you have parents who will always support wrong, this will happen.
Shania was on her way to a nearby shop when she was abducted on Tuesday. Her partially nude body was later found with her throat slashed on a dirt track in the community around 3:30 p.m. The main suspect, Delroy Coke, and his father were set upon by angry machete-wielding residents. The men were chopped several times. Delroy Coke, who is Shania's cousin, succumbed to his injuries. According to the family, Delroy Coke was a pervert who was protected by his father. Gager says Coke was known to the police.
Everybody would have seen this coming. Everybody would have seen the behavior, and the police did what they can, but they couldn't just take him away like that without something, having some evidence or going to court. So there have been incidents running with the law, I would say, where that child has been in custody for quite some time, on more than one occasion. I can remember at least 4 or 5 occasions that this happened. But every time they would come back because you don't have the evidence to put him away. I'll tell you something like this little boy approach you, I myself have to draw up in myself and say, boy, to sort of stop him. So brazen.
Colin Gager, Mayor of Falmouth and councillor for the Warsop Division. The Frankfield Police in Clarendon are this morning investigating a suspected case of suicide involving a 17-year-old student. The student has been identified as Bronte Shaw of Knox Community College in the parish. According to the police, a team responded to a call from Shaw's family home in Carty Hill near James Hill around 8:25 p.m. A relative had reportedly found him hanging inside a chicken coop. Meanwhile, the university student believed to have drowned in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth on Tuesday has been identified. He is Jalene Simpson of Caribbean Maritime University in Kingston. Simpson's body washed ashore at Old Wharf about 11:30 a.m., a day after he got into difficulties while swimming. It's understood he was drawn away by strong undertow despite the efforts of 2 community members. Simpson was visiting relatives at the time. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, has launched an investigation into the serious long-standing weaknesses within the organization, which were highlighted in a recent Auditor General's report. The Director General of ODPEM is Commander Alvin Gale.
There would have been matters concerning gaps in delivery, documentation not being countersigned in an earlier report. Those matters we have to investigate to see where it is that we would have fallen short of due process. And then the necessary implications, if any, will necessarily come from those processes according to the relevant staff orders, depending as well on the gravity of the event. Notwithstanding, we need to bear in mind the necessary situations around the significant operational pressures at the time, and decisions would have had to be made on the ground to cause for the necessary relief items to reach the persons in need.
Commander Alvin Gale, Director General of ODPEM. The Auditor General report focused on ODPEM's management of the Hurricane Melissa Relief Initiative. It found that the agency demonstrated a low utilization rate for disaster relief funds donated for Hurricanes Melissa and Beryl. It also uncovered widespread breaches in governance and procurement activities. The audit highlighted the need for continuous improvement in disaster response management and the enhancement of accountability and safeguarding public funds. Meanwhile, ODPEM's chairman, Trudy Deans, says some management changes have already been implemented.
There have been long-standing weaknesses in the organization, and the Auditor General's report did bring out some of those weaknesses. These are some of the things that we have already started working on. We acknowledge the weaknesses, we are fixing them, and we have begun investigations in some of the matters that are really serious. And once those investigations are completed, then the necessary actions according to due process will take place. So anybody who is culpable will be held responsible.
Trudy Deans, chairman of ODPEM. Deans and Commander Gale were speaking in an interview with the JIS. Now, Jamaicans who hold U.S. non-immigrant visas in the F, J, and I classifications are being encouraged to take note of new regulations introducing fixed periods of admission into the United States. The F1 visa is for non-immigrant students, the J1 visa is for exchange visitors, and the I visa is for foreign media representatives. Non-immigrant visa chief at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, William Skiffington, says effective September 15, 2026, the long-standing duration of status system will be replaced by fixed periods of admission. Robin Williams reports.
Since 1978, foreign students have been admitted to the United States for an unspecified period under the duration of status system. But a final rule issued by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, will bring that practice to an end. Instead of open-ended stays, most F1 students and J1 exchange visitors will now be admitted for a maximum of 4 years or the length of their academic program, which is shorter. Nationwide spoke with non-immigrant visa chief at the U.S. Embassy in Kingston, William Skiffington, on Wednesday.
Students who are below the graduate level, so bachelor's degree, associate's degree, things like this, are limited in their first year from transferring schools, changing their major, or changing their degree level, that is from like a bachelor's to an associate's. That's in the first year. Now, if they're at the graduate level or above, they can't change majors, degree level, or school at any point during the program, but again, they can apply for approval for an exception from U.S. Customs and Immigration Services. So now the last change for F's, the grace period at the end of the stay, at the end of the time in the United States for students. It used to be 60 days. It will now be reduced to 30 days. So this is the grace period for preparation for departure, to transfer schools, to change status following graduation.
The length of stay for I-Visa media representatives will now be capped at 240 days with the option to apply for an extension. According to the DHS, the changes are intended to strengthen oversight of temporary visa holders, reduce visa overstays, and enhance national security through regular reviews of immigration status. Skiffington notes that the changes do not affect the initial visa application process or the eligibility requirements for obtaining an F, J, or I visa.
We welcome students exchange visitors, journalists, as we always have. They're still welcome to apply. We still will be issuing visas under the same criteria as before. This really is about that initial duration of stay and bring the oversight away from the schools and the universities back to the Department of Homeland Security to have more control over the visa process. So it really is, an opportunity for students, journalists, exchange visitors to continue to come to the U.S. And if they need to stay longer than those set times, there is that opportunity to apply for an extension.
He's encouraging current and prospective holders of FJ and I visas to familiarize themselves with the new requirements and ensure they remain compliant with U.S. immigration laws.
Watch out for that September 15th date. For anyone who's traveling to the U.S. under one of these visa classes, please check your end date of your program, know your specific admission date and the limits and the grace period, which for Fs and Js is 30 days, and check the admission date that you're given when you enter the country. If you need to go beyond the 4 years as a student or exchange visitor or the 240 days as a journalist, make sure you file that application for extension of status early with U.S. Customs and Immigration.
For more information, persons may visit dhs.gov. Students can also access additional guidance at studyinthestates.dhs.gov. Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
And in international news, Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels say they attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea early Thursday. The Houthi attack threatens to open a new front in a war that has roiled the global economy, sending prices for fuel and other goods surging across the world. Meanwhile, the U.S. military conducted a 12th night of strikes against Iran as the two countries vie for control of vital shipping lanes. U.S. Central Command says its strikes were designed to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian marinas and commercial vessels transiting regional waters. U.S. President Donald Trump warned on Wednesday that the U.S. would destroy one bridge or power plant each time Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Both sides have increasingly threatened civilian infrastructure. International law generally prohibits such attacks unless the infrastructure is being used for military purposes. And that's it for the news at 7.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:16.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Ocho-Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
27 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, also 27 out west in Montego Bay. In Mandeville, 23 degrees Celsius.
We may stumble, we may fall, but together we always rise. Stronger. For 64 years we've proved it. Stronger. Through every storm, stronger. Every struggle, stronger. Every victory, stronger. We were born to rise. At Satiko, we rise with you, building futures, protecting families, uplifting communities. This independence, Jamaica stands proud as we rise. Stronger.
Attention seniors, great news! Your July 2026 social pension payment is here and ready for collection. Simply check your text messages to confirm your payment details. For more information, call 876-922-8013 or visit the ministry's website mlss.gov.jm. The social pension program, caring for our elderly, a message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, providing opportunities, stability and social protection.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch, and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only, all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
That time of the morning when we get our second report of Street Smart with Ludlow McLean. Hey again, Ludlow.
Hey, Tona, morning time again. I still want to say morning time to our listeners, viewers, our transporters, I mean, land, air, sea. I mean, when I say transport, taxi operators, drivers, minibus, coasters, those of you traveling in the various coaches and so on, everybody and all visitors. But the situation, it's still bright and sunny, cirrus clouds and nimbus clouds above. No cumulus cloud, no cumulus strata. So it means a very good morning. It's pretty warm, and the roadway is still moving good. Because continuing along Half a Tree Road, from Half a Tree, it's still good movement, and you're going down into the Crossroads area. There's a slight build up at the intersection of Retirement Road and Half a Tree, but nevertheless, it's good movement. Again, going further down Slipe Road, going down towards Orange Street, Hero Circle, all of these areas are really running good. And if you're on in the vicinity of Olo Pro to get across to Caledonia, it's pretty good movement. Also, going further down to Marasca Road, and all these areas are really moving good at this particular point in time. Upper wind, still good. Coming up towards Tamaretcom, it's all good also. And looking at Olo Road in both directions, good vehicle movement. But remember, Oxford Road is getting busy in both directions, whether they're coming towards Olo Road or going back onto Half a Tree Road. Going up Knutsford Boulevard, also pretty good movement. So at this time of the morning, I would say it's pretty good. But remember, later on, the traffic builds as the morning progresses. So I'm talking about maybe 8:39 going on. You'll see much more traffic in many other spaces. All right, so at this time, we want to say, at Street Smart, your safety is our concern. Tana, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Ludlow. That was our second report for the morning of Street Smart with Ludlow McLean. Up next, the front page.
Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're now tuned in to our discussion segment, The Front Page. On the front page this morning, we're focusing on some things some of you may have seen in the international space, also reported here on Nationwide. Cyber experts on OpenAI saying its artificial intelligence system hacked into another AI company on its own. So ChatGPT maker OpenAI says its artificial intelligence system hacked into another AI company on its own in what the company called an unprecedented cyber incident. CEO Sam Altman made the disclosure in a statement posted on social media on Tuesday. The ChatGPT maker said its agent, an AI system which can operate alone after some human instruction, was being tested in a controlled environment but found vulnerabilities and managed to escape. They targeted Hugging Face, one of the world's largest hubs for sharing AI models, gaining access to some internal company systems. AI startup Hugging Face said last week that it had detected an intrusion into its data processing systems. It said that it suspected it was caused by an AI agent autonomously acting on its own. The disclosure comes amid heightened concerns about the cybersecurity capabilities of powerful models. For perspectives on this development, we're being joined by Chairman of Lignum Security, Trevor Forrest, and Chairman of the National AI Task Force, Christopher Ruckard. Good morning to both of you.
Morning, good morning. Morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. So unprecedented, some saying it's a sobering reality, and others calling it a wake-up call. This has shocked many people. Many people are quite surprised at what has taken place here and wondering what the hell does this mean. And I want to ask you, Trevor, how are you reacting to it?
Well, this particular occurrence isn't a surprise to me or many of the cybersecurity practitioners in the space. In fact, a similar type of incident happened about a week prior. It didn't get the kind of news coverage that this one did. But when you understand how agentic platforms work and the impact artificial intelligence has had on the cyber threat landscape, and this kind of thing was expected for some time. So it's really not that big a surprise, but it is, as the report said, a wake-up call, because it is not until these things actually happen in the real world at this kind of scale that people start to realize that, what is possible. And I think this is what this particular event has demonstrated to businesses globally. The kind of capabilities that artificial intelligence in the cyber threat landscape bring.
And for us, as well as our listeners out there, Trevor, I want you to explain it like we're in kindergarten. I know I gave a brief, but to explain it like we're in kindergarten, what exactly took place here?
All right. So generally, what we are used to is a person, a hacker, writing code or carrying out some processes to either attack or infiltrate, gain access to different systems, to gain information, steal information, and so on, right? Now, the advent of AI, and in particular, agentic AI, where you now have the ability, those same hackers have the ability to tell AI how it wants things to be done, give it instructions. What they do now is say, look, here's what I want you to do. And the agent says, okay, and it follows those instructions based on what the hacker may tell it to do. But the twist is, because the AI platforms also have the ability to think for themselves, when they run into a roadblock, right, which a general person may run into from time to time, what the AI will do is the AI will then think through the problem, devise a way to overcome the problem, and then overcome the problem all on its own, right? And that happens in seconds. That usually would perhaps happen in hours or even days if a person was doing it. But the artificial intelligence agents now, what they do is they function autonomously, all on their own, using the knowledge that they already have to solve the problem that and overcome the roadblock that they ran into. And once that happens, then they move on to the next task, and that's what agents in the AI space do. You give them instructions, they perform tasks. If it is that they run into a problem, they think it through and then continue the task. And that's what happens. So, and I think one of the things that we have to contemplate is I don't think that the environment that OpenAI was testing this thing in was as secure as they ought to have made it, because I don't think they understood the full capability of what they were testing. Because if this test sandbox was air-gapped, it couldn't have found its way to the internet to then go and attack Hugging Face.
Right.
So I think there are some other things at play here that resulted in what we saw.
But here's the thing, Trevor, and I'm coming to you as well, Chris. Somebody can place on the table that, listen, perhaps no matter how secure you're going to make your testing environment, if the models are so superior in terms of figuring things out, there will come a time too when no matter how tight your testing area is, that the AI model, a superior one, will figure out how to get out of that and get on the internet and do something dangerous. But we're going to come back to that in terms of the risks. Chris, let's get your initial reaction to what has taken place here.
Well, I think Trevor covered it at a high level. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yes.
The sandbox failed. That's one of the things we need to understand that's happened here. So what a sandbox is, it's a secure environment, isolated, usually controlled, for testing something like this. And what happened is, the organization has built a model, very superior, and then they gave it some instructions, put it in the sandbox, and said, go do the following job.
Mm-hmm.
And as Trevor explained a while ago, the agent is doing as much as it can. For example, last night before I went to bed, I left the agent running to go and find any updated information on this case so that when I got the call this morning, I had the latest information.
Yeah.
When I woke up this morning, it did give me some updated information, although I kind of knew some of it before, talking about Hugging Face and their attempts to try to use regular frontier models to assess the problem, only to be blocked by guardrails, which should have actually blocked what OpenAI did in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So what Trevor said is correct. This is not shocking and surprising. This is what a lot of folks been worried about AI from day one. And what we're hearing here is that we need to give proper, complete instructions. I want to say complete. Not just what to go and do, but also more importantly, what not to do. So you had asked Trevor a while ago to give a kindergarten example. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, I was having this discussions with several people last night, and I was trying my best to give the actual basic example as I could. And I switched away from the AI discussion, and I said, you know what? You have your pet dog, and you have your dog that you have your little daughter walking up and down out playing outside, and you train the dog to protect the child. And what happens is that another neighbor comes over, and it appears it was going to harm the child, and then the pet dog just goes and ravishes the neighbor, not realizing that always the person was doing is saying hello, because it was not trained to recognize every single solid interaction that a human can have with another human. So this is something, as Trevor said, it's been expected for a while, because what we don't realize is that when we say go and do, it will just continue going and doing and not stopping until it is fully done. What does that fully done mean? Well, it's up to you. So yes, it's super, super interesting. Yes, we did expect something like this. And as Trevor said, a couple of these things been happening, but because it's with this big organization now, why we're hearing so much about it.
Yeah. Let's take a break, gentlemen, and come back with more.
Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life, while we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:32.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, having a conversation with cyber experts in relation to OpenAI. The cyber experts saying OpenAI says its artificial intelligence system hacked into another company's AI or another AI company on its own. On the line, we have Chairman of Lingdom Security, Trevor Forrest, and Chairman of the National AI Task Force, Christopher Record.
Now, Trevor and Christopher, you've given us your initial thoughts. I want to hear from you, Trevor, from a cybersecurity perspective. How can companies defend themselves against attacks carried out by AI rather than human hackers?
Well, that's the question that many of us who provide those services have been dealing with for over 2-3 years, since the advent of commercially available generative and agentic AI platforms. And the fact of the matter is, all of the solutions in the market are moving towards AI-based cyber threat defenses. It's a hell of a cat and mouse game. The threat actors, they use the AI to perpetrate their threat activity, and those of us who defend and protect and provide the services that protect have to employ AI, because you cannot counter AI-based threats with human defenses. It's just impossible. So what you will find is the providers of the services, the solutions, and the technology have already started to move into the AI realm in defending and mitigating the threats. But in a even more fundamental way, businesses have to now realize the extent of the threats and start to seriously consider investing in securing their environments as they move digital. That is the biggest problem. It is not the technology that is there to protect against these kinds of attacks. It is the reluctance of many businesses who are moving into the digital realm, doing their digital transformation journey, and not investing in the security against threats like this. And I think that is one of the bigger concerns that globally, nationally, locally, that all of us have as practitioners in this space. Businesses need to now evaluate the risk, because the risk factor has skyrocketed. It's gone through the roof now, given the advent of the agentic AI platforms that are now able to perform these kinds of activities against them. And the thing about it is, the time horizon for these attacks has shrunk. So things that would take days, weeks, months are literally now happening in minutes. So you don't have a lot of time to waste trying to determine if you need to protect yourself, because the time you take thinking about it, literally, these attacks are perpetrated, and they're not being perpetrated only by people anymore. They're happening at machine speed.
Let's hear you on that as well, Chris, what Trevor is saying about a human hacker would perhaps take a day or so to figure out some of the walls that are up and breaking them down to get in, but that AI will perhaps do it way faster. How organizations rethink cybersecurity strategies against that?
Yeah, so again, Trevor covered it, from a technical standpoint, high level very nicely. In my former role as CEO for TTEC Limited, cybersecurity and IT services provider, over a decade ago, we implemented some AI-related cybersecurity tools for a number of our customers. As most folks who are in the space know, AI is not new. AI is almost 70 years old in terms of what we're calling AI. And so over a decade ago, I started investigating some of these AI-related tools. So these cybersecurity tools themselves have AI in them. One of the main reasons, as Trevor said a while ago, human reacts at a certain speed. The AI is going 1,000,000 times faster. So we implemented these solutions, and within a year, there were various attacks, because attacks are continuous globally. There are people just pushing out and throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. And we saw how the AI cybersecurity tools reacted way faster and was much more secure. As a matter of fact, there was a specific situation amongst several of my customers where 3 listened, 1 didn't listen, and the Monday morning phone call, at 5:30 a.m. Proved what we were trying to tell the customer who didn't listen, and we were trying to upgrade their cybersecurity software with AI-based tools. So the long and short of it, that these tools out there, that's what organizations like Trevor's companies and Trevor does, and a number of other companies out there do. And the organizations need to start to listen. This is one of our problems. We've been out there beating this fence for many, many years, telling people to do cybersecurity training, but more importantly, putting the proper guardrails in the organization. But one of the things I want to jump back to is I want to reduce a fear out there, because in some of my groups, I get a lot of questions about apparently this thing just wake up and did it itself. No, the AI did not wake up one morning and decide to become a criminal. Human gave it an objective. Human put it in an environment that was not as secure as it's supposed to be, and the system found unknown vulnerabilities, gained access to some of the system. So the AI did not become conscious and develop a malicious attempt. So I want to just say it.
Very important point.
Right? It's very important. This thing did not wake up and go out there and do it, because that's what the sci-fi rebellion talks about. Yeah. No, this is not what this is. This is not.
Skynet hasn't become self-aware yet.
Right. Right. No, it is not. Right. The AI models don't have feelings. They don't have rogue desires. Right. They're just super powerful, optimized engines that when they get instructions, they follow the instructions as far and fast, as vast as they can, not realizing what they're doing. We have read some of the stories. You're asking the AI to go and plant a tree or do whatever, and it will do it even if it has to bounce over buildings, if it has to sadly kill humans. It will do everything just to follow up on the instruction that you gave it. So the instruction has to come with guardrails and have to implement all of those things. So I don't want nobody to be fearing AI and not wanting to do anything with AI. We should still, Jamaica and the organizations here should still investigate putting in AI agents to help them with their various things that they need to do in their office. In your own organization,
yes,
we should be experimenting, because the tools are there, and the cost of the tools are coming down at massive speeds, and the capability are growing equally at massive speeds.
Just to piggyback on what Chris has outlined, I think what it also highlights is the need to implement guidelines, guardrails, and policies around the use of this powerful technology. It doesn't only apply to issues of cybersecurity, cyber threats, and so on, but you could contemplate an agent of this, vast capability and power being used for things like corporate espionage, where you can create agents that go in and steal,
data, information,
secrets of your competitor, right? But it may do so based on a simple instruction that did not have that in mind. So you may ask it to do a task, and in furtherance of the task, the agent thinks to itself that maybe if I went over here and got this information from this entity who is a competitor, it will help me in the furtherance of the task I have been set, even though I was not told to go and infiltrate a competitor's, crown jewels. Right, so it's important to have guidelines, guardrails, and policies on how to responsibly use these platforms, because if the creators were caught off guard in what its creation could do, you could imagine that somebody who could be innocently using the technology to accomplish something, what it could actually do. And let me give you a simple example, really quick.
Yes.
You are able, right now with platforms like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude to link them to services like Expedia or Booking.com or your Gmail calendar or your Gmail inbox. And you can then instruct these agents to do tasks for you. So you would see that where Chris asked an agent to overnight do some work. Now, one of the things that you have to be mindful of is if you integrate these agents into your particular environment, and let's say it's connected to your mailbox, the agent, based on a statement or a request that you make somewhere else, could say, oh, one of the things that might be useful is if I send an email associated with this particular task, which you never asked it to do, but in its infinite wisdom, it said, okay, Tana asked me to do this one particular thing, but based on how Tana typically works, she would then send an email. Now, you didn't want to send an email, but the agent, because of your habits and how it sees you working, based on your request, says, oh, the logical next step would be to send an email.
Yeah.
And suddenly, somebody gets an email from you that you never sent or never intended to send. So it is important to understand the capabilities of the technology so that you can be aware of how
to manage,
responsibly use it, and how to give it instructions.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so these are things that are very important. That's why the whole idea around awareness and literacy in the responsible use of AI is extremely important.
Can I get your reaction or opinion, gentlemen, as we talk about AI this morning? I'm not sure if you've heard news or seen news that the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, they too are treating with this whole matter of AI too. They have announced some reforms to their school-based assessment framework, including the phased removal of the traditional SBA for non-practical CSEC and CAPE subjects as a response to the rapid rise in generative AI and other technological advances. A good response here, a reasonable response by CXC? Trevor?
Yeah, so as a former teacher, I will say that.
Well, this is Chris or Trevor? This sounds like Chris.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
Yes,
Chris.
go ahead, Chris.
Yes, as a former teacher, I mean, my first ever job after college was teaching. And when you're in the classroom and you're trying to assess the effectiveness of what you're teaching and the curriculum being taught properly, are the students learning and all of this stuff. Yes, the methods that we're using to do that at the time has vastly been affected by the availability to the students now of all these tools and technologies. So quite simply, you give someone homework around a topic, you expect them to go and do it themselves. All of a sudden they come back and this test is like, wow, this is amazing. They're getting 100 here. But when you sit down and have a discussion with them, they have literally no clue of what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's long in coming. We have seen globally, I've been kind of tracking globally what's going on. A number of countries are in fact making changes with how they're implementing technologies within their own school. I'm a former chairman of eLearning Jamaica Limited, and as the name says, eLearning, we wanted to implement technologies in schools, again, globally. That's what was happening, but all of a sudden now, globally, the big countries who are typically ahead of us with some of these implementations are now throttling back. They're removing some of the technologies out of schools and going back to paper.
Yeah.
So it's expected that this is going to happen. And look, we're going to see the box being shaken up with a number of these things. Trevor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was an informed move by CXC. It was a necessary thing. I recently did some travels to Europe, and there has been extensive research over there as to the impact of AI in the classroom. And one of the things that the EU, certain countries over there have discovered was initially, and this is very interesting, initially, when generative AI became commercially available, the knee-jerk reaction was to ban it, not to use it, to hold on to the traditional approaches. But what they found was that they had to change their perspective based on the capabilities and power of AI. And instead of banning it, what research found was it was better to say, listen, put processes and systems in place in the learning and teaching environment that would hold the learner accountable, right? Mm-hmm. So what that amounts to is, and what that amounted to was, instead of banning AI, they said, you know what, you can go and use all of the technology you want, but you are going to have to stand in front of us and explain what it is you have presented. And in order to do that, you actually have to be able to digest, discern all of the information that you have put into whatever you're presenting. So instead of preventing the use of AI, and I think CXC has stated that they'll give the students a month lead time to do the work. Use anything you want to use, but you actually still have to, sit down and write the thing. In universities, you still have to defend your work, right? And what I found very interesting about what I did in Europe was the consequences for not being able to defend the work that you've produced. That's extremely harsh. So it is in your best interest to learn, even while you're using the technology, because this technology is always going to be there and it's going to be used. But what they sought to do was to say, look, even in light of using that technology, you must, at some point in time, learn. so
absolutely.
I think that's an approach that is very important.
Yeah, and as you said,
let me try another angle. So on the flip side, I'm going to share a little experience. I do some business coaching to some organizations, and one of the discussions that we had recently was that because since COVID, as you know, a lot of organizations have been doing remote work, remote meetings, remote everything. And there was an incident recently where team members came into office and interaction in front of everyone. There's a certain team member, their whole contribution was just night and day in person versus when they were remote. When they were remote, they were Einstein. They were the most brilliant person in the world. And all of a sudden, in person, you can just figure out what's happening. Now, all of a sudden, the aha moment came when the CEO, turned to me and said, but I don't understand. And I sit on there smiling because I said, I understand. And I myself experience, I do a fair amount of talks. I go on panels. And I remember one event, the first time it happened to me, I literally quietly had to crush up my speech, tear it up, straighten my bag. Because the first two panelists that answered, it was like a carbon copy. So we have to understand the power that AI gives people. Right? It is intelligence on tap, sort of. It's not really intelligent, but it's access to data at lightning speed on tap. So if you have the ability to write the prompts quickly and you can get information, all of a sudden you're something like the most brilliant person in the world.
Yeah.
But do you actually know this information?
Have you digested what you have told AI to generate for you? Can you defend it on your own? Yeah. Well, we have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you so much. You guys were very helpful this morning. Christopher Record, Chairman of the National AI Task Force, and Trevor Forrest, Chairman of Lignum Security. Thank you so much for your time, Chris and Trevor.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Going to take a break and come back with more on NTM.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:53.
Hawkeye is protecting homes, businesses, and communities with trusted security solutions. The temperature by Hawkeye, securing what matters most, is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 23 degrees Celsius in Cool Mandeville.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch, and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, turning our attention now to water. Drought conditions are now affecting 69 of the water supply systems managed by the National Water Commission, NWC, across the island. According to the NWC, up to July 13 this year, the worst affected systems are across 9 parishes. Joining us for a conversation, Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager at the National Water Commission, Siddiqui Brooks. Good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Sadiq Brooks. My apologies, yes. Sadiq. All right, so Kingston and St. Andrews, St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary's, Sadiq, account for the majority of affected systems. Could you give us an update, though, for Kingston and St. Andrew, the two major water systems? What's the level this morning?
Okay, so before I start, we're now actually at 75 systems that are impacted by drought conditions. But so for Hermitage, we are now at 50.2%, or just about 197 million gallons. Mm-hmm. And for Mona, we're at 69.5%, or around 561 million gallons.
Could you just repeat the level for Mona?
69.5.
69.5. Okay, and we just told our listeners it was 69. You're now saying that the number of systems affected is 75. Is it still across 9 parishes?
Just about. The numbers there haven't necessarily changed. We have, for instance, in Manchester, we only have one system that's affected. That's Moravia Upfall in Christiana side. Mm-hmm. And in St. James and Trelawney, we have about 5. But most of the affected systems are in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Thomas, and the Northeast region, which includes St. Anne, Portland, St. Mary. And in St. Catherine and Clarendon, we have about 4.
Okay. And what are the immediate measures NWC is taking to maintain water supply in the hardest hit communities? We know of what is taking place in Kingston and St. Andrew, but for the other parishes?
Also, for the other parishes, what we're trying to do is we are increasing water trucking as best as possible. So we have about 18 water trucks that are owned by the NWC, and then we have private arrangements with private suppliers, so we have about 52 trucks there, right? In addition to that, we're doing some network management. So we move water from one area to another, not necessarily to deprive anyone, but where we might have excess. So for instance, in St. Catherine, we have a little bit more water there, so we're able to kind of move that water around. We are also partnering with private suppliers to augment where we have shortfalls. We are reducing the amount of water that we distribute. So it's not to necessarily eliminate the water supply essentially, but to just reduce it so that you don't have the very intense and high pressure, but that you still serve. We're also alternating distribution. So meaning some communities get on specific days of the week, and we cannot alternate the arrangement. We're doing more valving and regulation so that we can manage and maintain our pressures. And also we're recommissioning some of the wells that we may have rested for some time so that we can harness as much water as we can from that.
And these are wells in which areas?
All over the country, but specifically I can speak to Cavalier and Beverly Hills in St. Andrew that we're working on those to bring them back on stream.
Is there a timeline of when those will come back on stream?
In terms of Beverly Hills, that should be back soon, within another week or two. Cavalier might take a little bit more time, but we're actively working on assessing where we can make speedy improvements.
Okay, and you spoke of wells, very important. But looking ahead, Sadiq, if it is that these sort of drought conditions continue, could you say what the NWC, what sort of work you might be doing with the government or other agencies to mitigate the impact of the drought?
So a lot of the work that we've done work previously, right? So a big part of it, as I would have explained, it's just to manage what we have and do assessments in terms of how we can make adjustments along the way. As previously indicated, we'll be going, putting on the things that we've rested to ensure that we bring water to our customers.
Sadiq, what are some of the practical steps that households, businesses could take to help conserve water? And how significant is public conservation in preventing the situation from worsening?
It's very significant, but not just significant only during a drought. It's very simple things like 16 leaks at home. That saves you and it saves us, right? It saves you money. Because if you have a leaking toilet, I can speak to a specific instance where someone has a leaking toilet and that toilet alone brought the bill to over $100,000.
Wow.
So you're talking about gallons and gallons of water being wasted, like by the minute. So those are simple things. Fix your leaks in your homes, the toilets, your faucets, your showers. Don't have them dripping, and because water is a limited resource. We don't have unlimited water, so you have to see what you have during drought and before the drought. Take shorter showers, turn off your tap. You recycle your water where you can. So if you use the water in the house for your laundry, to rinse your laundry, you can actually use that water and water your plants.
And speaking of that, Sadiq, is the NWC considering prohibition orders?
That is something that we would have to. Well, I know that's more or less be discussed at a higher level. But when that becomes necessary, if it becomes necessary, we'll indicate. But that's not necessarily on the cards immediately. But we just encourage persons to just conserve as much as they can and invest in additional storage where you can. I know that some persons might live in apartments and they might not necessarily be able to put up a big tank, but I know there are tanks that you can install in apartments, smaller ones like 200 gallons. So invest in a storage. Our climate is changing, and that's our reality. We have El Nino before, we have climate change. So some things are going to kind of be with us for a while. So it's a matter of us taking responsibility as well and ensuring that we're prepared for the dry period. And to go a bit further, it's not we are, as employees, are also being affected. It's not a case where we're just doing this for customers. It's a everybody thing. So everybody has to kind of come in and play their part. NWC is doing what it can at various levels. So we just encourage customers to also do their part in terms of conserving, investing in additional storage where they can, and also to pay their bills because that's how we'll be able to invest in infrastructure for to better serve our customers as well.
Sadiq Brooks, Acting Corporate Public Relations Manager at the National Water Commission. Thank you so much for your time, Sadiq.
You're welcome. Take care.
Take care. Going to take a break. After the break, across Jamaica.
It's It's time for Hot Listings, Nationwide 90 FM's on-air classifieds, made for quick ads and fast results.
Get big discounts on tires and $500 instant cashback per tire. Call We Share Profit today at 876-862-6604. That's 876-862-6604 for details.
That was Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM. Listings start as low as $1,500. Call 876-630-1210 to book yours today.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:05. From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Thursday morning, July 23, 2026, in St. Catherine, Nagahead Primary School in Portmore has emerged a champion of the 7th season of the Tourism Product Development Company Limited Tourism Quiz Competition. They defeated defending champions Creative Kids Learning Academy from St. Andrew with a score of 37 points to 30. Mandeville Primary from Manchester secured 3rd place, while St. Hugh's Prep in St. Andrew bagged 4th place. In addition to the Tourism Quiz Trophy, Nagahead was awarded a cash prize of $200,000. Creative Kids won $150,000. Nagahead previously had the title in 2023 and 2022. The TPD Code Tourism Quiz Competition serves to introduce students to Jamaica's tourism industry while fostering critical thinking, teamwork, confidence, and national pride. In St. James, Sangster International Airport has welcomed the inaugural Liat Air flight from Guadeloupe, marking the start of a twice-weekly service to Montego Bay. The flight on July 14 initiated a year-round route operating Tuesdays and Saturdays. The service is the latest addition to introduce at the Sangster International Airport since the start of the year. It comes as Jamaica's tourism sector continues its recovery following Hurricane Melissa, with the Ministry of Tourism reporting that 1.5 million stopover and cruise visitors through May 2026. Chief Executive Officer of MBJ Airports Limited, Shane Monroe, says the Guadeloupe route reflects the airport's continued push to expand its network. He says attracting new carriers and additional destinations remains central to MBJ's strategy in its management of the Montego Bay-based airport. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Liat Air, Hassaf Abdul Salam, says the Montego Bay route extends the airline's presence in one of the region's key tourism markets. Since the start of this year, Sangster International has announced Wingo's direct service to Medellin, Colombia, launched in June, along with Air Canada and Porter Airlines routes to Canada, confirmed for the coming winter season. This takes the total number of scheduled and seasonal destinations currently served by the airport to 48. The Agriculture Ministry is advising that people who grow crops for personal or household use do not need to register with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. It says RADA registration is intended for commercial production and transactions. According to the ministry, RADA registration allows farmers to access a range of services and programs designed to support agricultural enterprises. The guidance comes amid a renewed push by the government to push backyard farming. The ministry says growing food at home remains an important part of the government's food security strategy and is actively encouraged. It says that technical guidance, training, and free backyard gardening kits have been provided through RADA to help families grow fruits, vegetables, and other crops for their own use. RADA has distributed over 5,000 free backyard gardening kits across the country. The ministry says it intends to complement this with the rollout of an additional 5,000 in the coming months. That's it for Across Jamaica for this Thursday morning.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10 or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch, and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views. All included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 7 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 7 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. We do have some time for your calls. The numbers 630-9371, 630-9372, 630-9373, 630-9374, and 618-6730. Have you ever heard somebody calling out the number on their radio show and they say it so fast, like they're about to give out a prize? They ask a question, there's a prize with it, but they say the number so fast. I'm like,
you can't get that.
You don't want me to win? You don't want me to call a win? I have not yet taken down the number. You said it so quickly.
Quicker than that, Tana.
You're saying it so quickly. You don't want me to call in and win the prize? So I've said the numbers, I think, real slow, so that you can call in, tell us your thoughts. I did see earlier a lot of you reacting to Tamoy's What's on My Mind about reading.
Yes.
So if you want to continue your comments on that, feel free to do so. You did get comments as well from our two earlier guests speaking on the matter of AI and reacting to CXC's announcement that it is reforming its SBA framework. And I want to get your opinions on it. You did Your opinion, rather, on it, Samoy. You did SBAs back in high school. Which subjects?
I did it for AdMath. I did it for, oh Lord, not literature. No, I'm trying to remember. History, social studies, AdMath, econ. Those are the IT. Those are the ones that immediately come into mind. French didn't have an SBA. It was oral exam. So those are the ones that I'm immediately remembering. History, economics, AdMath, social studies, IT.
IT. Right. For your IT SBA, did it ask of you to create a program?
Yes, there was a programming component. Right. Hated it, but we had to push through. When I did do it, I feel like Steve Jobs. When it actually ran, we did feel very nice.
Yeah.
So yes, we had to do a programming component.
I think that was the most because that component was introduced in my year. So that was 2010. So we had such a difficulty navigating that component, but it all worked out.
Thank God.
It all worked out, yeah. But I consider that the most difficult component of the IT SBA. I'm not seeing IT listed by CXC, so more than likely students will still be doing an SBA for information technology. But there will be no SBA for social studies.
Okay.
History. English A, mathematics.
I never really understood.
Why is there a SBA for math?
Yeah, that came in after I left high school, which I'm very happy about because I never understood the logic. What is going in the SBA? But then again, having done an AdMath SBA, I could kind of see where it could happen, but I didn't think it was necessary.
What were you doing in the AdMath SBA? Do you remember?
That was a dark time. It was a dark time. Jesus, you got a problem or a fact pattern and you just had to really kind of solve it. You came up with your topic or theme though, so I think if somebody wanted to do something on derivatives, it is all a blur, but you came up with your topic and you had to really use math to solve the problem.
Yeah.
But you know, Tono, I think Trevor was talking about the aspect of defending your piece, even if you use AI. And I know at the CAPE level, for comm studies, you had to do the oral, you did the oral speech as well as you did the, you had to type it out properly and everything, but you had a speaking component. And I think if more of the
subjects... So a panel asked you questions?
Yes,
okay.
And you had to... you give your speech and the panel would assess you and grade you. So I think if more of that happened for the other subjects, not just comm studies, which is at the CAPE level, that could be a good way of testing whether the students have really understood the material and grasped it. So I think that could be something that could be implemented.
Yeah. Dwayne, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Doing good, how are you?
The thing that I wanted to ask you, your answer. Why is it that when they're giving out numbers, they give out the numbers as if they don't want to get the number?
That's what I'm saying, Dwayne. That's what I'm saying. Do you want me to call? Do you want me to win a prize? Why are you saying the numbers so fast?
But even yesterday, the lady that came over about something about health, and she gave the number, I tell you the truth.
You never catch it.
And about the pen in my hand, and the time I took out the pen. All right, 5. I don't know what she says, and she's done.
You have to move a little quicker than that, Dwayne.
No, but hold on. Yes, but I mean, you're not testing me. I'm not at the exam. I can take notes. Even sometimes after we didn't start on.
Yeah.
But I can take notes, but I'm not saying I'm that strict either.
Yes.
Writing, but I think I can take notes. But by the time you say the first 2 words, you're done.
633-9371.
Yeah. I'm begging you, going forward, Tanya, that when they're giving out these numbers, just ask them to slow a bit and repeat it, man, please.
Absolutely do it.
Especially when it comes to something, not necessarily winning prize, but it could be something that you really want to.
You want to call and contribute. Yes.
Because sometimes you took up the phone and you say, I want to call, but by the time you took up the phone and you just a bam, then done and gone and not even the consideration of them.
Yeah, Usain Bolt style calling out of the numbers. Fast.
What other thing? Yesterday with the crime with the girl.
Yes.
You recognize something that took place yesterday?
What's that?
Is that you can correct me. I think they were saying that the guy was a suspect in the past, and they were watching him or something like that.
Basically,
am I correct? Am I correct?
Well, Dwayne, basically, based on what the father said as well as what the mayor said, who's counsel for the Warsaw division as well, where Troy is, he had these tendencies, and the community knew of these tendencies. Perverted ways. He was notorious for that, apparently. So he had these tendencies, but it seems as if, and he was known to the police, it seems as if residents had made complaints. But what the mayor was saying is that there was nothing to hold him to. Like, there was no evidence to hold him to say, yeah, man, we have him stuck down for this and can bring him before the courts and bring him through all of those stages and he'll be convicted. So that seemed to have been the issue. But he was known in the community.
All right, the same people who might have reported him to the police or suggest something, they did not have the evidence and didn't have the fact to come forward. But eventually they had to see him and turn and kill him.
Yeah. There's
so what's the difference?
Well, I don't know what they knew before they mobbed him that made them believe that he was the one who committed the crime.
Because what I'm trying to say, that if they have such a strong belief that they would take his life and take his father's life.
Well, no, his father is alive, doing.
No, they would have to kill him too. He would have killed him too.
No, I thought you were saying that he was dead.
No, I know he's not dead. No, but they attempt to do so. It's just as if you're doing it too. I'm guessing it's attempted murder, and the person who goes to court, they would have charged attempted murder. But I'm just saying that if they knew so much that the father was taking up for him, why nobody did the same thing?
But it doesn't seem like nobody said that. It sounds to me like people said something.
But never have the full fact.
Right.
One more thing I want to say before I hang the phone. Stop sending your children to shop. You have some little babies. 8-year-old and 5-year-old and grandma and grandpa and big people at the house. And you send them to shop. Buy your thing at supermarket. Stop picking a shop. Many of these things, we're gonna stop, I'm gonna stop the house burn down and completely burn up. Nonsense. Why are you sending your little babies to shop? Why can't you go to shop yourself?
Yeah. People just have to look at the space in which they live so much differently now. You just can't take anything lightly or believe that all will be well because the shop is just a stone's throw from where you live.
I'm not going to tell you that I know the circumstances of everything, but I'm just saying, if you can in your home and you're not sick, why are you sending a 5-year-old to shop?
Yeah.
Remember this little girl like a boy was going to shop and the dog and nearly kill little baby? Send him to shop, you remember?
Yeah.
Stop sending your thing to shop. Yeah, adult go shop, go buy what you want.
Or be accompanied by an older child, perhaps. Or be accompanied by an older child. But I get what you're saying, Dwayne. You just never know what's going to happen between the house and the shop.
Because remember,
child could be hit down by a vehicle, by a bike, abducted, beaten up by dogs.
Right.
You just never know. So
you must go out, go buy your thing yourself and let you go pick them. Stop sending them shop. That is my message.
Heard loud and clear. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Fergie, good morning.
Morning, Fergie.
Yeah, morning.
Tona and Tamoy. Good morning, Fergie.
Yeah, Tona, right. Shamoy. Boy, you girls so sharp, man. It was very interesting listening to you girls, right? But I'm not commenting on anything more than saying that you're the word of the day. I started laughing. I laughed the entire time, It was so humorous to me. You know why?
Yes.
Because in Jamaica, because they say you're craving.
Wanga belly.
Wanga got your bar stretch.
Yes.
So, anyway.
And somebody else in our chat, Fergie, said them think it would have mean somebody who digs trenches. Which makes sense. I get that. But the definition here, a person who has a hearty appetite or simply a heavy eater.
Right.
Or these days people say big back.
Right.
You're a big back.
All right. It does make me laugh. All right.
Take care, Fergie. Thanks for calling.
Take care. Right.
Blaine, good morning. Elaine. Elaine, hi. Elaine. Good morning.
Hi, TT and TC.
Good morning to you.
How are you? Tell me something. This SBA, see, what they're going to change it to? They give it the subject to study at home, and then when you're going...
I can explain it to you. All right. So you're going to get a topic. To get the topics a month in advance. And if you want to use AI to help your research or whatever, you can do that. But you have to prepare yourself for the topics, research, get your research done.
Okay.
Then you will go to an exam where you will write on a topic. And what CXC is saying that they will allow you to take your research notes to the exam. To help you write on whichever topic it is.
Okay, because I have a granddaughter here and I to look and do it. I say, is that you look? He say, yes, sister, I give him to do it and send it in by the laptop.
Hold on, say that again, Elaine?
Doing SBA now. But you do it at home and send it in on the laptop.
Yeah, man, that's how the SBAs work now. So you know what your topic is, and you can write your SBA, and then you'll submit it, and your subject teacher will look over it and see where you could have done a little bit better, or will make notes and give it back to you, and you fix it up again, correct what you need to correct, and do another submission until they say, all right, it's no longer drafts. Your final submission has to be made for your SBA to submit to CXC as well. So that's how it is. That's how it is done now. The problem is, Elaine, that apparently you have a lot of students who they are not going out and doing the research and digesting what they're researching and then writing their SBAs. They're just prompting AI on whatever topic they're doing their SBA on, and AI is writing the whole thing for them, and then that's what they're submitting.
So sometimes when my granddaughter come in and doing her homework and she look on it, and I said, you must not write off everything on AI. Put it in your own words.
Right.
Put it in your own words.
And make sure you understand it. If your teacher should book you up in the hallways and ask you to give an explanation about what is in your SBA, you should be able to. If there's a debate going on about your SBA, you should be able to defend it and whatever. So.
Tana, I have a granddaughter here, you see? She don't like read, but if she wants to read, she don't like to read over and over. But once she read one time, and you ask her what was what she read, she can tell you everything.
Oh, but that's great. That's great.
She just read. If I say to if I read it in one time, I can't go right again. But if you ask me, I will tell you everything that's what I read about.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah, and if she's still once you read it. And I'll next week ask her what you read in the book. She can tell you everything that she read.
That's great. That's great, Elaine. That's great.
Yes, okay, all right.
All right, take care, Elaine. So, Rambling Rose, good morning again, Rambling Rose, saying, Tana, the topic is given, not the question. Right, so it's not the question, it's the topics. The topics for a particular subject area, those topics are given, and you can go ahead and research the topics ahead of time. And then when you go to the exam now, you get a question from one of those topics. And you can reference your research notes that you will be able to bring into the exam to help you answer the question.
Tana, you see why we're in this predicament? Because the kids not reading.
They're not reading. They need to read. We're going to take a break and come back with more on NTM.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:28.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The temperature by Fontana Pharmacy, it's all good inside, is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 25 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
On Tuesday, Renee inherited a dead man's map and pinned it to the wall. Tonight, he calls and points her at the one folder she isn't allowed to open. That's the close of Act 1. Sit with the word Renee couldn't put down. Outbound. Under the Act, data can't just leave. Every use of personal information needs a lawful purpose someone can name. A folder marked outbound with no purpose isn't a filing error. It is a country walking out of a building, one row at a time. That is the real stake of this whole story. Not one company, but whose hands a nation's data ends up in.
I'd stopped waiting for him to call. So, of course, that was when he did. I've thought a lot since about his timing, how he always knew the exact hour I'd found the next thing. At the time, I called it uncanny. Now, I think it just means he was watching the same logs I was. He knew I'd looked, because looking is what left the mark.
You found the room. Good. Most people build a workspace to feel organized. You built one to see. That is the difference between the ones they can manage and the ones they have to remove.
Is that what happened to you? You saw.
I drew the map and I told the wrong person I'd drawn it. That's the whole lesson. Not don't look. Look all you want. Just never let them see you seeing until you can't be unseen. You went into the live directory today.
How do you?
Because I felt it move. You have the map now. Don't tell anyone you do. Find the folder at the edge, the one that leaves. Everything I could never prove is in what leaves.
He never said his name. Never said, save yourself, or trust me, or run. He said, find the folder that leaves, and hung up inside my own head, the way he always did. I should have heard how hard he was steering me. Mostly, I heard someone, at last, telling me I wasn't imagining the shape on the wall. It was exactly where he'd said. At the edge of everything, one folder, and unlike the rest of his careful, readable map, this one was locked. Encrypted the way you encrypt a thing you're moving, not a thing you're keeping. A name, in plain letters, across a door I couldn't open. Everything in me went quiet on that word. You don't label a thing outbound unless it's going somewhere. You don't lock the map to where a nation's data is going unless the going is the whole point. I put my hand flat on the screen, like a fool, like it was a door I could feel the heat through. It was just glass, but somewhere behind it, on a schedule, my whole country was walking out of the building one row at a time. And there it was, the entire first month, rearranging itself into one sentence I couldn't put back down. The database with no lawful floor. The breach folded into a drawer. The charter line deleted while I watched. The man unwritten, who gave himself 3 days. And a folder marked outbound that I, the data protection officer, was not allowed to open. I hadn't been hired to fail at this job. I'd been hired to succeed at a different one, to be the honest face in the doorway, the clean signature, the person who could stand in front of a regulator one day and say, truthfully, I never saw anything leave. They didn't hire a watchdog. They hired a blindfold and gave it a lanyard. I'd spent 15 days trying to earn a job I already had. The job was not to know, so I was going to have to get very good, very quietly, at the one thing they'd hired me never to do, and pray I was better at it than the man whose drive I was now breathing through. He saw the whole map. He gave himself 3 days. They gave him none. I told myself 90 was different. I told myself I had time. I was all ready, though I couldn't hear the boots on the stairs yet. Standing in that locked room at the very end, the drive going warm in my hand. Everything after this was just the 90 days it took me to walk there.
Act 2 begins next Tuesday. Follow the show now so it finds you. And if you want to see where your own data really goes, every border, every hand it passes through, our data lifecycle mapping template can be found at our website at designprivacy.io. See you next week. This has been Data Protection Matters, and I'm your host, Chuku Emeka Cameron.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Rebuild with the standards. Rebuild with confidence. Test your blocks, concrete, cement, aggregates, and other building materials at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ, building a nation, test by test. The time by the BSJ is
8:34.
Feel the rhythm of nature at the world-famous Duns River Falls and Park, one of Jamaica's most iconic experiences. The temperature by the Urban Development Corporation is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and 25 degrees Celsius in cool Mandeville.
From the farmers in the fields, to the bakers who prepare it, to the teams that deliver every day, Juicy is built by Jamaicans. To our partners, thank you for standing with us. Juicy Patties, serious Jamaican food.
Beat the heat with Fontana Pharmacy and ATL. From now until August 15, 2026, spend $13,000 or more at any Fontana Pharmacy island-wide for a chance to win amazing prizes. The grand prize is a brand new AC unit from ATL. It's a hot summer, so beat the heat with Fontana Pharmacy and ATL. Visit our socials and website for more details. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 7 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 7 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Those oldies but goodies reminds me of you.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. So our numbers again, 630-9371, 630-9372, 630-9373, 630-9374, 618-6730. Pablo here says, Ton, as a country girl, everybody knows each other. The shop is just around the corner. The man lives in town, so he does not know. This sounds like a comment that was reacting to what Dwayne said. That everybody should just listen, just go to the supermarket and don't send your picnic to no shop. Yeah, the thing is, every country is not like how country's supposed to be. Yeah, some country places have changed. Yeah, my country, for the most part, still feels like how country's supposed to be, where everybody knows everybody and you can go to the shop and everybody's looking out for everybody. And if you don't have no food, somebody give you food, and you can go to Miss Pam and ask for some sugar if you don't have no sugar. I still have that kind of country. But there are other kind of country places that perhaps is not the same. So yeah, Troy is country. Yeah, but yeah, apparently there are some issues with how certain people are supposed to be. You know, that country spirit? Not everybody still has that country spirit, Pablo. Yeah, times and things have changed. Leonard says that happens in rural Jamaica all the time. Is the wicked dash man, them need to leave the pitney them alone and look out for each other.
Agreed.
Yeah, you don't have the looking out for each other like it used to be back in the day.
Everybody for themselves
anymore. Yeah. I'm seeing here Georgie Porgy Walton saying each high school has different subject options. What do you mean, Georgie Porgy, by that? That each high school has different subject options. You might mean, for example, some of the technical subjects that are offered at one school may not be offered at another. And perhaps on the foreign language side, not every school offers the foreign languages, Spanish and French. I think my school started out with Spanish, but it's not, meaning high school, of course, started out offering Spanish. And then I think they offered French to seniors. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's across the board now, where both of those languages are offered. Okay, so I get what you're saying, Georgie Porgy. Ursuline says, my 2 girls wouldn't go to the ice cream shop after 6 p.m., even though I could have stayed at home and looked right where the ice cream shop was.
My mom is the same way. Like, things are pretty close, and she has never been fond of the idea of sending us to shop. You know, my parents are the type of people who they go market, and end of the month they go big shopping at supermarket. My mother doesn't like having to go to the supermarket in the week, but if we do, she'd prefer that she would go, and as we've gotten older, we'll go to the supermarket. But the corner shop business, she's not like that. Children must be inside. That's her view.
Pablo says, Tawna, in the 60s, my mom sent my brother and I to the district shop. We did not have a TV, so Bonanza was showing, so we'd stop and watch the TV at the district shop. Yeah, that was done. That was something that took place in my community too. You'd have certain shops that say they're having movie nights.
Your community is so close-knit, so cozy.
But the moms and dads would accompany the kids, or like a bigger child.
Yeah, which I think what we're saying to the win is like you don't want the little tots out there by themselves. Right. An older person, so it's the big sister and the little sister maybe go to the shop together. Yeah. As opposed to the little one.
Yeah. And Rasta Rock Jamaican St. Tawna, big up Nationwide for highlighting our plight in Alligator Pond over the weekend. It's been 4 months no piped water. So again, putting out an appeal. I know NWC, their advisors had said they came up on some issues while they were trying to do restoration works, but I think an update is necessary now as to what's happening with the restoration of water for the people of Alligator Pond. Ursuline says, stayed at home and looked, hold on, what's this saying? So Ursuline is basically saying that she had bigger brothers who shielded her back in the days.
Yes,
you're right. Georgie, yeah, okay, and the comments have jumped. But SH here says, my country was exactly like yours, TT. I was sent to the Saturday evening shopping, and the men line up at the walls would make their remarks, but they dare not attempt to do anything. I felt safe. Same here, same here. Leonard Seville says, rural area people send children to shop all the time. Is a man them need to leave the children alone. Yup, for sure. Sharon says, Tawna, I never send my children to shop by themselves for anything. It was just me being very cautious. Yeah, some moms and dads are like, even when the community close-knit and the shop is a stone throws away, they're not doing it.
But one of the things, though, Tawna, and I think I've been seeing it through a lot of people in the comments, is that oftentimes the community members might know of the tendencies of a particular individual, and the same community shields the person. You don't speak up, you don't say, I mean, I'm not advocating for jungle justice and you could beat up anybody, but if you know that this person has a certain tendency, always a trouble little pitney, and I know somebody must know somebody like that in their community, but you sit on that information, you don't bring it up to the police, maybe let them do some investigation, conversation, I think we as a community are forgetting that we also need to do our parts to advocate and to protect our young girls. I mean, everybody, and look out for the community, because you see the danger or you see the threat of a danger and you sit down with the information and go back in your house. That don't make any sense.
Don't brush it aside. Tell an authority figure so that they can do their investigations. And MS says we demand free movement for our children.
Exactly.
Yeah, parents shouldn't have to fear listening to the shop just to write this out and fear sending your child to grab something from the shop. Rick NYCJM. Good morning, Rick says Dwayne was inconsiderate, not understanding that the family may not be economically well off to do supermarket shopping. Yes, so you have to go to a corner shop. Sebi says what's wrong in the country though is children hanging out at bars and at gambling shops and casino. Well, drop any casino. Well, gambling shops, and there are many of those. So Sebi saying that's what's wrong with the country, and children hanging out at bars and gambling shops for sure. Georgie says I think times have changed. Girls are not safe. The young and older men don't care, and if anything bad happens to the girls, you hear all kind of things. Utilin Delevante says nothing is wrong with the children going to the shop. Something is wrong with the workless perverts.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yes. And what else am I seeing here? Mark Peart says, good morning, Mark says, Tana, it's always a family member that is doing this type of crime, someone close. In many of the instances, indeed,
so
Mark,
true.
It's somebody who's related to the child. Carlene McCog says, Tana, up to the 90s, it was very okay, but now, not so much. And Carlene says, it's sad. Evan Bury says, how about the little girl taken from the school? Yes, that case reported a couple months ago. Luckily, there was a political representative at that time, Tamoy. He and his wife had heard about the abduction in their community WhatsApp group. And thank God, luckily enough, they were on that same road where the child and that abductor were seen and intervened, thankfully.
Thank God.
Yeah, so, yes, I remember that case. We reported it here, too. Pecker says, Tana, the family member said she was always accompanied to the shop by a bigger boy, but because he fell from his bicycle and injured himself, he wasn't able to go with her. Yeah. Kenyatta Montgomery said, today we're living in a quagmire. The community doesn't raise the kids anymore, and we're trying to normalize this behavior as if it is part of our culture to be proud about. Leonard Seville says, it's part of growing up in rural Jamaica where everyone knows everyone. You can't lock up the children. It's just that it takes a village to grow a child. And okay, and Annie says, Tamoy, it's always nice having you on. It's a breath of fresh air.
Thank you, Annie.
And here's another one. Sebi says, your coworker smells really nice.
Hey,
it's making Sebi's morning.
Thank you. It would be nice. It would be nice. You know, one thing I wanted to mention to Tana is I really have to applaud also those people in the community who see an issue and speak out. I remember when sometimes I would see maybe older men, you know, them I look the little pitney them, and you would have another big man who would hold that one accountable and say, big man, you can't do that anymore, you have to leave the little pitney them. And I don't see that happening anymore. Like somebody seeing an issue and speaking about it and holding the person accountable. We need to do a little bit more of that. So yeah, you see the problem, say something, report to the authorities, but remember, you know, if you call out people and things, it also has an effect, and that's the type of village and community that we need, where you're looking out for other people.
Yeah. And a final one here. Olive Logan says, boy, when I look at the little baby, it breaks my heart. Can imagine what she went through before she passed. Yep. You know, doing this job, I heard George yesterday, I think, saying to Nora that at an appropriate time, getting counseling for us media practitioners here at Nationwide. And absolutely,
yeah, you guys,
those things are very important, because covering stories like these really deals a toll on us mentally. I was saying to my colleagues yesterday, just like this story now that had practitioners in our newsroom yesterday crying, writing the stories and crying.
Oh my God.
And like for me, who was going to read the story, I had to leave out of the newsroom. I think it was maybe 7 minutes before coming to my desk here, just to give myself a breather.
Yes.
Find myself in Nora's studio area and just start talking about some random things to prepare myself not to come on here and be an emotional wreck because of what stories like that does to practitioners like us who have to delve into all of the information about the incident or the attack. And I was saying to them as well that the story of the little girl, I think it was St. Catherine, who was raped and killed and thrown in a barrel a couple months ago, that story, it stayed with me for weeks. It made me have sleepless nights because I just kept, I was a part of the team that covered that story, and it just kept going through my mind over and over again and made me so emotional and at the same time so angry. So I agree with George that...
I agree with George too.
Yeah, practitioners do need counseling too. But we're going to take a break and come back with your birthdays.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
8:49.
Of the morning to tell some very special people happy birthday and happy anniversary. Want to say happy birthday greetings to MJM in the chat, sending happy birthday shout out to our cool hardworking nephew Carl Morris aka Kyle. Enjoy your day from your aunts and uncles in Spalding, Mandeville and overseas. So your aunts and uncles in Mandeville, Spalding, and overseas, sending you happy birthday. We love and appreciate you, Kyle. So Carl Morris, aka Kyle, happy birthday to you.
Arlene 8585 says happy belated birthday. Arlene is jumping away. Happy belated birthday to my friend Dawn Williams in New Jersey. Her birthday was on the 21st. Wishing for you many more blessed birthdays, my friend. Happy birthday, Dawn. We hope you enjoyed your day on the 21st.
Also seeing here Ines I. Campbell Murray sending happy birthday greetings to her granddaughter Tasania D'Souza. Turned 23 years old today. So Tasania, happy birthday to you is coming from your grandma Ines I. Campbell Murray. Also celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday greetings going out to Ann Miller. Hello to you, Anne. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday. It's coming from Maxine at Joseph. Marva Hines, VVIB. Very, very important birthday, Marva Hines. Good morning to you, Lady Marva. It's your birthday. It's coming from your sister Sharona, your daughter Sage, son Connie, your brother Job, and your dad Mandy. They're saying to you, we love and wish you all the best on your very special day. So Marva Hines, a happy birthday to you. Happy birthday greetings also going out to Nurse Yvonne Galloway at the Falmouth Hospital. Happy birthday to you, Nurse Galloway, and thank you for your service. Happy birthday, wishing for your lovely one. Winsome Van Riel at the Ministry of Labor. Good morning to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday as well to Alton, Laurie, and Sav. All of these are coming from Sergeant Wayne Wallace. And over on Facebook, happy birthday greetings to Kareem DJ De La Vega Boyd, Olay Sunshine Harris, Lennox Hall, Carrie Harrison. Happy birthday greetings to all of you. Wishing for you a great one. And Yvonne Bury is saying that today is her birthday.
Happy birthday, Yvonne.
Good morning, Lady Yvonne. It's your birthday today, July 23. A happy birthday to you from your fam bam here at Nationwide. Wishing for you a fabulous day. SH is saying, wishing my absolutely faithful friend Pauline in London a happy birthday. Hope she has an enjoyable day and may she live to see many more. So SH's absolutely faithful friend Pauline, today is your birthday over there in London. Happy birthday to you. Wishing for you a great day from SH.
Gatti MC says happy birthday to Petrina Plunkett. All the best, my friend, and God richest blessing. Happy birthday, Petrina. We hope you're having a great day.
Happy birthday. And seeing here, Yvonne says, and Yvonne says 55 and going strong. You're batting man, Yvonne. 55 today, 55 and fabulous. For Lady Yvonne Bury, celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday again. Arlene Rose sending happy birthday blessings to her granddaughter. Also sending happy birthday to Ines I. Campbell Murray's granddaughter, Tasania D'Souza. So Arlene also wishing her many more blessed birthdays. Here's another. Gracious is sending happy birthday to Gracious. Are you a man or a woman? But Gracious in our YouTube chat, today is your birthday. So happy birthday to Gracious.
Happy birthday.
And Gracious also reminding us that today is the birthday anniversary of Emperor Haile Selassie. Jermaine says Selassie is the chapel of Rastafari. Alright, so Emperor Haile Selassie, today is the anniversary of his birth. So that one is duly noted. Those seem like all the birthdays now. KMC also sending happy birthday to Ines I. Campbell Murray's granddaughter. So Tasania getting a lot of birthday wishes in the chat. Happy birthday to her again. Yeah. So if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary as well.
The Trinity.
So chat is actually Grace Ann Miller. Okay, so Grace Ann Miller, and you had gotten birthday greetings from Maxine at Joseph. So gracious, Grace Ann Miller in the chat. A special good morning to you again, and happy birthday. So that's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning. Thanks to our technical operator, Jermaine King, our super producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, and our super editor, Kimon Thompson. Up next, the Consumer Hour with Norgay Banton at 10. Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana.
And I'm Tamoy.
Good morning.
Just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
Babylon is gone, Babylon is gone.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.